My name is Lauren Burke, and I am here to talk to you today about how I think we're doing everything wrong. I'm going to talk to you about how we need to eradicate the use of lawyers and how the idea of charity models that we came up with in 1920s or 1890 or 1972 needs to be dismantled. The first thing I'm going to have you do, though, is close your eyes. And I can see you in the audience, so I would appreciate if you actually did close your eyes. And it's almost lunch, so if you're feeling a little sleepy, you can use this time to take a little nap. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture your favorite childhood game. I want you to imagine what that game looks like. Is it checkers? Were you a big nerd and it's chess? Is it categories? Sorry. Look at the pieces. Look at their colors. Look at the board. Now I want you to keep your eyes closed. They're going to be closed for a while. And I want you to picture your best friend sitting across from you. Your best friend as a child. What do they look like? They have the same skin color as you? Are they your same gender? Are they older or younger? I want you to imagine knowing that you are going to win that game that you're picturing. You are going to move those pieces in the right way. You are going to make a double jump if you're playing checkers. You're going to answer the correct questions if it's a trivia game. And I want you to picture yourself winning it. You can open your eyes now. Most of us who are privileged enough to be here, that's how we go through life. We go through life seeing a game, we know the rules, we know how to use the pieces, we know what the boxes are there for, we know how to make the jumps, and we're sitting with a peer. We're sitting with a peer with somebody that we know we have the ability to beat. Now, we might not win the game every single time we're playing it, but we know that that chance, that possibility lies within us. Most of the people who I work with, undocumented immigrant youths, trafficked youth, youths who have survived trauma, who have been in the foster care system, who have lived on the streets, the way that they approach games, I thought at first, was just that they understood what the rules were. They were given a board, but they were somehow unmatched. That they thought, okay, maybe I won't be able to win, but I'm going to try. That maybe that we're told is that people just have to get beyond the belief that they cannot win a game, that there are all these systems telling them that you can't do it, and we have to teach them that, yes, you can do it. And if they have enough people supporting them, then they will win the game. But what I realized was that a lot of the young people who I work with didn't even know what the rules were for the game. Close your eyes again. I know, sorry. I like to make it interactive because I don't use PowerPoint. Close your eyes again, and now I want you to picture a giant board in front of you with blue and white and purple and green squares, like checkers. I want you to imagine that there is one piece that is shaped like a top hat, like Monopoly. I want you to picture that there's another piece that is circular on the bottom with a little round top that looks like sorry, that there are pieces scattered about the board that have question marks and dollar signs on them, and I want you to picture that the person sitting across from you is imagine the scariest professor you've ever had in your whole entire life, with glasses, white hair, someone really scary, all right? You can imagine Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whoever you like, but now I want you to imagine that someone says, go, play the game. How do you feel? I haven't explained to you, you can open your eyes again. I haven't explained to you how to play the game. I haven't told you what those pieces are for, how you're supposed to use them, and you're up against somebody that you don't think you can beat. That's scary. That is how life is for so many of the young people with whom I work. And actually, that's how life is for so many of us. You know, the law is an interesting thing. It's something that we use every single day, but if you're like me and you're white and you're privileged and you're a US citizen and you're middle class, you don't ever actually have to use the law. Yes, people are stopping people for stop and frisk in New York City, but that has never happened to me, and I would venture to guess that it hasn't happened to most of you sitting in this room. So even though we don't know the particulars of the law, even though we don't know that we have the right to tell a police officer, no, you can't search me right now, we don't have to use that right. So it's not as important for us to learn it. And I think that that's why we actually don't teach the laws, which are the rules to the game of life, in the classroom. Because we don't need to. Because as a society, we feel that the privileged people don't need to learn. It's really interesting. I represent undocumented people, and one of my clients is a very outspoken undocumented immigrants' rights advocate and has been for a very long time. She has a YouTube channel where she talks about it. She has met with lawyers, and she's undocumented. But when we met a year ago, I actually found out that she had been sexually abused as a child. That had been reported to the police. The person was arrested for the crime. And she had the ability to get something called a U visa. And the U visa allows her and all her family members and her brothers and her sisters to stay legally in the United States of America, and 3 years after that to get a green card, and 5 years after that to become a U.S. citizen. And she had this ability since she was 9 years old, but she never knew about it. Had someone just been able to tell her, you have this right, she would have, instead of protesting in City Hall, she would be casting a ballot in City Hall. Instead of having no power and being told you don't qualify for federal financial aid, you can't get a driver's license, you can't have a social security number, she would have been somebody fighting for the rights of others because she would have already graduated from college because she would have gotten a Pell Grant like I received when I was in college. So I thought, okay, what we have to do is we have to teach the law. That's what's most important, right? We have to teach the law. So I started a YouTube channel. I started it in my bedroom because I didn't have an office yet, and my cats made many appearances in my YouTube channel. But I sat there and I taught kids the law. And I said, if this has happened to you, here are your rights. If you can, here's how you can represent yourself in front of immigration. I started with immigration law. And here's how you fill out your forms. And my YouTube channel was very successful. We got over 125,000 hits within the first year. And I had kids from all over the country writing me saying, thank you for teaching me how to do this. So I thought, great, this is it. We teach kids how to use the law. I'll teach them how to use the game. And that's it. That'll be great. So then I had another client last year who is an amazing young woman. I can't speak about how amazing she is. And side note, I don't tell my clients because they're their stories. And I think that they should also be here at TEDx talking, but I want them to tell their story. So I don't use clients' names when I give speeches, but this amazing young woman who's so incredible, she's a single mom, she has overcome so much, she's in school full-time, she's working full-time, and she recently found out that she's eligible for a form of immigration relief for people who are married to abusive U.S. citizen husbands, or wives. In her case, it was a husband. And she has the right now to get federal financial aid, which was denied for so long. And I said, this is so exciting. Here's your piece of paper. Here's what the rights are. We went over the law. Go to your college admissions office and tell them you have this right. And they said, no, that's not correct. And she said, but I have the law. I have the piece of paper. This is what the rules are. This is what I told them. They said, no, you don't get it. You don't get that. You're illegal. She says, no, I'm not illegal anymore. And by the way, we don't say illegal, we say undocumented. And that, I know that, that's my right. And here's the piece of paper. Here's what the law says. They said, go talk to somebody else. And go talk to somebody else. And go talk to somebody else. And for 6 months, they said, go talk to somebody else. You don't get it. You don't deserve this right. And so she came into my office one day crying and she said, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe I don't deserve it. And so I realized that it's not about sitting at the table and learning what the game is. And in fact, that what my clients face is that they are not only not taught the rules to the game, but they are put in a corner and said, you can't play and you will never, ever be able to play. I work with people who are literally sold by their parents to come and work as cargo, to say, you are not worth anything. You're a girl who was born in China. Your brother's worth something. Your goal, your purpose in life is to work and for us to get money for you. I work with young people who turn on the news who say illegals are invading our country. Not to say much for my great-grandparents. We're certainly invading the country after they came here from Ireland and Italy and Germany and England, but we don't talk about that anymore. They turn on the news. Fox News did a segment 2 years ago of somebody catching Dora the Explorer, the illegal immigrant. Last fall, there was going to be an event on an Arizona State college campus called Catch the Illegal, and they were going to dress people up as illegal immigrants, and it would be a fun day if we could go and catch them. Thousands of people die crossing the desert every year, and they are the exact same type of people that your ancestors were generations ago, but they have a different skin color, and all of a sudden now we are afraid of allowing others to achieve the American dream, and we tell them, you can't play the game. I find this really interesting for a number of reasons, but one, because I realize that what we have to do is make people believe. We have to play make-believe. Because it is this wonderful game of life, which is hard and difficult, but we have to make people believe that they have the right to play. Not only that they know their rights, but they have the right to play and be an active agent. So I thought, great, I've solved it. Great, we teach them how to believe, but how the heck do we do that? How the heck do we do that when we're coming up against kids who've been told they're illegal, who are told they're worthless, who've been chained up in their parents' backyards and beaten with sticks? How do we make them believe? So at Atlas DIY, we put them to work, which is an interesting concept for someone I know that works in human trafficking. Don't be worried. What we do is we started a youth cooperative, a youth collective, because I realized that the idea of this charity model of saying, oh, you poor thing, something happened to you. I'm a lawyer. Let me just fix it. Let me just take care of it. They weren't then believing they had the ability to do it. This whole saying, teach a man, don't give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. I say, don't give a man a fish, make him believe that he can fish. I shouldn't say I say that. This is my new thing I've come up with. Because if you teach someone to fish, great, but if they don't believe that they can actually accomplish it, then knowing it doesn't really do anything. And so we put kids to work at Atlas. We're part of a youth cooperative, we're a youth collective, and so every young person that walks through the door becomes an agent of change at our office. And most kids say, like, Miss, I can't do nothing. I have kids say that to me. I hate when they call me Miss, but that's what some of them do. I can't do nothing. I got no skills, nothing. I have nothing. Or they might say, yeah, I have a high school degree and I have a college degree, but I've been told I'm worthless, so I don't have anything to give you. And we look at them and we go through their skills and I say, you have hands. You can use those hands to build a desk. And I have one kid who's the first kid who said, Miss, I can't do nothing, who now comes and wants all his legal appointments to take place at that desk that he built. I have kids that say, I can't do anything. I say, well, we just helped you get your green card. You just learned so much. Can you help me teach other kids? And so they come with me and they speak at high schools, teach other kids, or they make YouTube videos. I have a amazing young person who made a YouTube video rap about filling out a social security card application. It's like, yo, my name is Juani Doe, born in the streets of Mexico. It's really great. You know, and we say, oh, you speak Spanish. I want to learn Spanish. I can say, you know, ¿Dónde está la playa? Where's the beach? But that's all I can say. Will you teach me Spanish? Because I'd really love to be able to communicate with people. Or we say, you speak English. Can you read with somebody who's never, you know, had anybody read to them before? We say, what is your power and how can we make it happen? And we make them believe then that they have this sense of human dignity. So that was all well and good. But I was doing this work and I found myself, you know, everybody talks about burnout, right? And I found myself going home at night and pulling my heads under my covers and watching Dance Moms. I know I just admitted I watched Dance Moms. And watching Dance Moms and other horrible TV shows. And I found myself in the morning feeling like I would rather do anything than get out of bed and go to work. I found myself a couple years back actually clawing up my own arms because I couldn't do it. I couldn't think and believe that I had the ability to do this work, and I just felt like it was so much, and I felt like, how is it possible that I have gotten all these things in life and my clients that I work with have been given nothing? I don't deserve it. I don't deserve anything, and I wish I could take my being away and give it to somebody else. That's honestly how I felt. And so I realized, and it took another one of my clients, who's an amazing young woman. They're all amazing young people, but she's incredible. They all are. She's a citizen. Her parents are undocumented. She actually lived with me for a little while after Hurricane Sandy hit. And she said to me one day, I said, gosh, you know, you should go out and play. Go out and play. Stop writing college applications. Start doing these things. She's like, you never play. So why should I play? And I realized that as social justice workers, we often don't do what we're trying to teach our clients to do. We often don't believe that we also have the right to have a nice coffee, that we believe that we have the right to fall in love, that we have the right to go see a show, that we have the right to go see a TED Talk because it's taken away from our clients. And for so long I thought, well, if I just don't do that stuff, somehow it's going to give it to myself, to my clients. Or I thought, well, I shouldn't go out because I shouldn't take a vacation because I could be working with one more kid or save one more kid. And then it was another kid who was trafficked and we'd had her escape to New York, and she goes, gosh, you look really tired. And I was like, oh my God, you were just working in these, you know, you're trafficked. Like, you can't say I look tired. But I realized that if I was not if I was not recognizing my own humanity, how on earth could I make somebody else believe that they were also human and not only deserved the absence of abuse, but the addition of pleasure? And so I realized that life is not about helping someone stop the abuse from happening. It's not about stopping someone from being trafficked. That should be the bare minimum. We as a society should not settle for, oh, great, My client is no longer being raped every single night by a pimp. We as a society should think that client that happened 5 years ago, and she's going to yoga class now. She's learning to breathe. She's going and learning to cook. She is sitting next to me in a Broadway theater. And it's so funny because we talk all the time about what we love to do in our hobbies, but also give it to somebody that doesn't have it. We have a mentoring program at Atlas, and we match people with professionals. And what I say is, don't just sit and talk. Bring them to what you love. Find those nurturing moments. Teach them that there is joy. Because if you're stuck in a car underwater, you're not going to fight unless you believe that you're going to live. And living isn't just about the absence of struggle. It's about believing in finding pleasure. Thank you.